Now, the next speaking slot is shared by Deputies Colm, Keaveney and Billy Keller. Deputy,
Uh,
10
Thank
minutes
you,
each. Deputy Keller.
Laskin Corla. I'm sharing my time with Deputy Kelleher. Woke up this morning, Laskin Corla, as I do in Dublin, quite early, and the Irish Independence website, its morning headline was, I quote, "Coalition to sign off on offer to Aer Lingus." However, the sub-headline on the printed Irish Independence said, I quote, "The Labour Party has capitulated to Fine Gael demands and accepted an offer for the state's share in Aer Lingus for IAG." Laskin Corla, we were told that there was a quote, a gang of 7 Labour TDs that would valiantly hold out till the last, and they professed themselves to be satisfied today with a so-called new, improved, better package, a better offer, and they were happy with the facilities that are being offered here today on the sale of the remaining stakeholdership in Aer Lingus. And the main concerns that were identified by the Gang of 7 were outlined at Labour's conference this year. And I want to read into the record of the House because there was a bit of skirting around the issue by Deputy Hannigan with respect to the detail of what the Gang of 7 voted on with respect to the policy. Number 1, the serious concerns that the bid fails to reflect the true value of Aer Lingus and therefore an independent evaluation of the assets of the company is required, in particular the valuation of the 23 Heathrow slots. I want to congratulate Minister, Aer Lingus and the government for successfully managing in 7 months not to manage to increase the offer that was made 7 months ago, 7 months later, despite the fact that we're in the midst of an alleged economic recovery. You haven't managed in 7 months in your negotiations to increase, in the interest of the state, the value of Aer Lingus. The second aspect of the motion was the need to firm commitment in the form of a registered employment agreement. And I note here tonight, the Minister's own words, we do not have a legislative infrastructure in this country for an REA. And I want to back the dedication, the commitment, and above all, the actions of Patricia King, the Irish Congress of Trade Unions, this morning, who categorically said this is a bad deal for workers. A bad deal because the government are not in position to guarantee the protection, the conditions, the rights of existing workers at Aer Lingus. The motion went on to conclude the need to articulate a plan to promote Shannon, Cork Airport, and taking into account the business models and the impact on individual reasons. The same gang themselves now claim to be concerned no more. They're now satisfied, and they're willing to support the disposal of a state asset in Aer Lingus. And shamefully, they'll do that tomorrow. Clearly, the negotiations at Cabinet are as follows. Labour dispose of Fine Gael in terms of Aer Lingus, and Fine Gael will back Labour on a registered employment agreement. I want to say to you that Deputy Brendan Ryan, and a deputy that across this House we all have a universal fondness for, a respect. I want to quote him from the Labour Party conference. He said, I quote, "We oppose the recent deal not out of a political self-interest, but because it's a bad deal. We have not heard any valid reason, no example, why IAG cannot purchase the other 75% of the company and work in partnership with the Irish state." He went on to say that being a stakeholder in Aer Lingus provides the people of this country to become a guardian of the people's interests, and the government need to act in the best interest of the people and the state. And the best way we can judge every single item on this deal is in its own merits. And we need to oppose this deal. We need to oppose Fine Gael in government on this deal. He went on to say that there may be a deal at some point in the future which meets some of our concerns, and we need to copper fasten them, particularly the connectivity, and in particular, the terms and conditions of the employment of the workers there. Minister, as the Minister for Transport took to his feet here today in the chamber, guaranteeing the Oireachtas that there wouldn't be redundancies in Aer Lingus, Willie Walsh was holding a press conference at the corresponding time saying there will be redundancies. There will be redundancies. That's his plan. He will fire hundreds of workers. Hundreds. On one hand, we have a minister saying there's copper fasten guarantees, and we have a minister here tonight saying we don't have the legislative framework to protect the conditions of employment. I want to agree with Deputy Michael McNamara. His comments last March, when he said that no negativity will hold up our commitment to support workers at Aer Lingus. We want to see increased value, and we want to see, most in particular, the regional framework and support for the regions in the context of connectivity. And I want to say that Deputy McNamara, he quoted that day, and I want to quote, "The one of the values that's significant in the shareholding of Aer Lingus is that it cannot be broken up into constituent parts and sold off." Now, Minister, I doubt if there's anybody remaining in the Labour Party who honestly believes that the focus of Willie Walsh isn't to break up this company as quickly and as promptly as possible, accelerate redundancies, and to ensure that only core elements of Aer Lingus would remain. So tonight, here, Minister, you may as well say goodbye to security, catering, auxiliary services in Aer Lingus. And that's what we will be voting on here over the next 48 hours. Because nobody in this House, and if anybody has any shred of honesty to the people of this country, they should put their hand on their heart and say, it's absolutely an untruth that jobs will not be lost. They will be lost. That is the stated intention of the CEO. Minister stood here today, Transport, and spoke that there'll be no redundancies. At the same time, the interested party, CEO, said there will be redundancies. Now, how does that tally? Because, Minister, I have some confusion around the deal that's been announced. And while the Gang of Seven might be satisfied, the monetary value of what existed on the table 7 months ago and what exists today, it begs the question, why are we selling this? What is the urgency to sell a state asset of such significance? And there's been some rhetoric here today about, well, Fianna Fáil sold 75% of the company. You will sell 100% of 25%. 100% of Aer Lingus will be disposed of by you. And let that be your legacy. Let that be the legacy of the people who haven't had the courtesy to come in and protect the terms and conditions of workers in Aer Lingus. The spin, the deal, how you sell it to the Irish people. 50 years of dividends. 50 years of dividends will be flushed away. And the methodology in which you have calculated the value of Aer Lingus will draw into question in many years to come. They talk about a banking inquiry in this country. There will be an inquiry into the disposal of Aer Lingus. There is no justification for disposing of Aer Lingus in the context of the capacity of this country to stand on its own feet now. We're now 2 billion. We're now 2 billion ahead of tax profile. Why would we dispose? Why would we dispose of a brand that we as a country have fought for, the dedication, the commitment of ordinary people? Provide for a brand. Tomorrow it's going to be British Airways. We won't have a connectivity that we call our own. And there's something going on here, Minister, that just doesn't add up. It doesn't economically stand up. It doesn't stand up today, nor did it stand up 7 months ago. And, Minister, I have to say, you know, the rationale around your logic on the Heathrow slots simply doesn't add up. Simply doesn't add up. And you're selling a significant entity that the people of this country fought tooth and nail in bad times. We're 2 billion ahead of tax profile. What is the logic of disposing of this asset? Either it's ideological, and that you have some focus group to say that the Tory element of this government will secure 1 or 2 points extra in next Sunday's Red Sea poll. But let it be the legacy of the Labour Party. We'll turn around to workers in North County Dublin and say goodbye to the pay, the conditions of employment. There will be redundancies. It's confirmed. Your rhetoric is inconsistent with the CEO, and I'd ask people, I'd ask the public to stop this, to stop this folly. We will never have a brand in this country called Aer Lingus again. This is the last opportunity for this country to hold on to the asset.
You're sharing time with your colleague.
I understand that.
Well, your time is up. But your time is up. We should let the Deputy Keller in. Thank you.
Parliamentary politics, I hear you.
No.
I conclude on the following.
No, but it's only out of respect to your colleague, that's all.
What folly? Minister, you're not saying we spend 50 million every year on promoting Patrick's Day. Promoting Patrick's Day, and we will lose a company that has 500 million in banks across in cash. And we will sell it for 1.6 billion euro. To say down in Galway, Minister, who's caught in the loop? You're not caught in us.